Times on points as well, and he'll fancy a real swing here at Big Nick Campbell.
And now we introduce his opponent, Nick Campbell.
Decked in tartan, the proud Scotsman, the former professional rugby player turned fighter, although his family steeped in boxing history. He's 31, Nick Campbell, undefeated in 3, and another interesting tale in the Blue Ribbon division.
Yeah, very, he's got that. We always say if you're good at one sport, the chances are you're pretty good at them all, and he's got that athletic ability, that physicality.
Boxing on Sky Sports, brought to you by Voltarol.
Mom, he's going to turn us all into monsters again. Stop him! Great job, Max. She's some sort of monster hunter. You don't stand a chance against me. We have to free the monsters.
Live from Wembley on Sky Sports Boxing, time now for a heavyweight division contest fought over 4 rounds. We introduce first in the blue corner, wearing the black and lime green, and weighed in at 17 stone, 1 pound and 14 ounces. His record stands at 3-33-1 from Swindon, Phil Williams. And across the ring in the red corner, wearing the tartan shorts, standing 6 feet 7 inches tall, and weighed in 18 stone, 1 pound and 6 ounces. Undefeated at 3-0 from Jersey and Glasgow, Scotland. Introducing Nick Campbell. And your referee in charge, Marcus McDonald.
Nick. Right, boys, you both know the rules of boxing, and I'll explain them to you. One thing I will say, obey my instructions at all times, keep it clean and watch your heads. Any questions? Let's go to work.
Well, we've had the premier heavyweight on the planet here tonight in Tyson Fury, and so much happening in the higher echelons of the division, but there's many prospects coming through who've been inspired by the likes of Tyson and Anthony Joshua and Dillian White, Joe Joyce and others, and here's 31-year-old Nick Campbell. He's slightly late to professional boxing, but has had boxing experience before via a career in rugby, and now he's back in the pugilistic world up against Phil Williams, looking for his 4th knockout against Williams, who's a journeyman man.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a fight Nick Campbell should win, but it's he's very much a novice, really, isn't he, in terms of professional heavyweight boxing? But he's looking to land a nice stiff jab there.
We saw Steve Robinson, didn't we, in Newcastle a few weeks ago, and he got a huge amount of traffic on digital after that knockout. It was quite something, and the crowd obviously in the northeast. So there's these characters, and because they're the big hitters, they excite the crowd and will go with their tails.
Definitely.
Lives in Jersey these days, Campbell. Williams from Swindon, so doesn't have to come too far up the M4, but gets a count in the first round. Bundle down, he doesn't like it, but Marcus McDonald gives it, and first success for Campbell here. Well, he swung for a right hand, and he missed it there, Williams, and he got punished. And Campbell looking for a big uppercut, and a real statement here on prime time.
Good body shot.
Phil, come out. Let go. Push away.
Looks out at the crowd. Campbell. Jab from Williams. Campbell with the advantages in there and the perfect record to defend as well.
You know, just falling short there, needs to step a little bit closer, get his feet into range. Good body shot.
Yeah, he's targeted that a couple of times. Williams, who's had 147 rounds of boxing, only 5 completed for Nick Campbell. Everything finishing early, and this may do as well. Clubbing him, isn't he?
Yeah, clubbing him. I mean, he's pretty raw, isn't he? They're both. I mean, you know, he's obviously a bit raw, but he looks strong. Yeah, clubbing him there, and I think he heard he was a rugby player. He was trying to look like he was trying to rugby tackle him there.
Yeah, played for the Glasgow Warriors and the Jersey Reds as a lock forward. Also very good friends with Gerwyn Price, who was a rugby union player and then obviously now is the #1 darts player in the world. So shows you can change sports. Probably a bit harder with boxing.
Yeah, but like we said, rugby is a physical sport, and usually if you're good at one sport, you're usually going to be pretty decent in most sports.
Well, you were quite good at a few, weren't you?
Once upon a time.
Round 2.
Here's the second round. Nick Campbell against Phil Williams, who's pretty much the go-to British heavyweight journeyman for the prospects on the way up. Turns up, does his best, but normally loses. Let's be truthful. He's a white-collar fighter before a pro, and he just smiled down to you at ringside, Matt, as if to say he's all right. He's hanging in there, and he's trying the odd right hand.
Yeah, he just tried to pot shot a right hand there and nearly landed it. I think, you know, Campbell's coming forward. He's looking to, you know, fall short there, landed a body shot. You know, Williams firing some right hands of his own back.
Well, he's trying to get in close, isn't he? Trying to smother Campbell. But Campbell, strong and huge, really. But he is raw and obviously.
Yeah, he is. He's raw. He's a bit predictable as well.
Attempts the 1-2. Campbell. So wants to be a success. Nick Campbell joined forces with Mark Dunlop, popular manager. Yeah, did have some amateur honours, Scottish novice champion, elite champion, and an intermediate title. Tried out for a place in the Commonwealth Games. So there's some pedigree there. I guess it's hard to switch back, and he is 31 now. Although that's time for a heavyweight still. Again, just trying that big thudding right hand, Campbell, but Williams is staying with him. It's fairly dominant from Nick Campbell, who had Williams down in the first round and wins the second fairly comfortably. A huge night of boxing this. Richard Riakporhe, Florian Marku to come, and then Crawford Porter.
I believe deep down in my heart that there's a lot of things that I haven't shown yet, being that I didn't have to show it at that point in time. You know, I think there's a lot of skills that I have that I haven't been able to display, and maybe Sean Porter can bring it out. I just expect Sean to be Sean. I can't stress it enough how talented he is, and we're going to be ready for whatever he brings to the table. He likes to box, he likes to bang, he likes to brawl. He likes to do a lot of things in there. I don't have to disrespect him or, you know, talk bad about him to, you know, sell a fight. We both know we both professionals at the end of the day, and come fight time, I'm going to do what I do best, and that's win.
Calm, isn't he? Terence Crawford, undefeated three-weight world champion, absolute superstar. But he's in with Sean Porter, the firecracker of a former world champion, and the biggest test for Crawford to date. That's in the early hours from Las Vegas. Don't miss it. Meanwhile, back here, Nick Campbell and Phil Williams. 4 rounds in the heavyweight division. Just before our main event, which will see Richard Riakporhe in his biggest test so far. And then we finish the proceedings with some bonus action. Florian Marku and all his Albanian fans who are packed in here at ringside. Rather a quiet, sort of serene atmosphere after the Aziz Burton thriller.
Yeah, well, Aziz Burton was you know, an exciting fight from the very first battle. Aziz just came out and took control of the fight straight away, and you know, the crowd really got behind it. You know, now we're going to a 4-round heavyweight fight with 2 novices, you know, a novice and a journeyman. So yeah, the atmosphere's kind of gone off the boil a bit.
Time out from Marcus McDonald, just looking to tidy it up. Was supposed to be meeting Danny Whitaker. Phil Williams came in at very late notice, and that's what these excellent journeymen do around the UK. They get the call and they save shows.
Yeah, and you know, over the years, the likes of Peter Buckley, like I say, mentioned him earlier, those journeymen, Brian Coleman, you know, they've saved so many shows over the years. You know, and they're happy just to get through the rounds, get through, survive, don't get stopped. Chances are he could be boxing again next week. Oh, gets nailed there with the right hand.
That's better from Campbell, and that's a nice burst. And a quick combination, and Phil Williams is on the floor for the second time, and this one far more of a legitimate. And he's counted out. I think Williams got up just on the 9.5, possibly the old trick. Although he'll have to serve a notice now, won't be able to box for a month. But Nick Campbell gets his man out of there, makes it 4 wins on the spin, all inside the distance. But a little lethargic and raw tonight. Still a long way to go and plenty to learn in the gym.
Yeah, you know, a lot of work to do. He's a raw novice, but he's physical, he's strong, he looks like he carries power. But yeah, a lot of work to do for sure.
But he remains unbeaten. There's the team in the tartan. I think he wants to, you know, try and get to English or British level. As we mentioned, yeah, the likes of Steve Robinson and other fighters, other heavyweights. There's always a place for them on the card, and there could be some interesting battles at their level.
Yeah, and he may look better against a guy who's trying to beat him as opposed to a journeyman who's trying to survive. It's difficult against someone that's just trying to survive. They back out a distance, they hold, they spoil. And when, you know, he doesn't have the experience to really, you know, navigate his way around that.
Found a corking right hand just to have Williams in trouble. He's seen it all before, the man from Swindon, and he's smiling again. Nick Campbell moves forwards.
At 2 minutes into round number 3, your referee Marcus McDonald called a halt to this contest in favor of your winner by TKO, Nick Campbell.
Boxing on Sky Sports, brought to you by Voltarol.
What sort of Englishman would teach Herr Hitler's League of German Girls?
Mein Vater ist Deutsch.
It can often be hard to tell who someone really is.
I have a list of Nazi conspirators.
As soon as there's movement, we'll take the school.
My girls are not the enemy.
I have to stop this.
Sky Sports, stay up. You'll see the way this fight ends. I don't know, but I do know my hand will be raised. I think that Terence Crawford is one of the most athletic boxers in the world. Who's the other most athletic? He's one of the most fastest. Who's the other fastest? He's the other quickest. Who's the other quickest? Who's the most intuitive and intellectual and all of that? That's how you beat Terence Crawford. Nobody has been able to match Terence Crawford in all of those aspects of the boxing game. And I'll raise my hand and saying that I'm going to be the first one to do that.
You gotta love him. Ferocious inside the ring, brilliant outside. Sean Porter in with Terence Crawford for the WBO welterweight title from 2 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. It's a marathon tonight. Stay up with us or watch it in the morning if you can't quite do that. Also coming tomorrow, we've had the football, we know about the darts, it's the Qatar Grand Prix and how it's heating up between Max and Lewis. 12:30, Sky Sports Formula One tomorrow. Back at ringside, JD has the unbeaten Nick Campbell.
Yeah, unbeaten would be the great way to describe Nick Campbell. You moved to 4-0, a pleasing performance, 100% KO record that you keep. We know that obviously Williams was a late replacement for Danny Whitaker, but what was the most pleasing aspects of your performance tonight?
I knew that Phil was going to come and try and survive, so I knew it would be difficult to get out of there. First 2 rounds were quite awkward. He was doing a lot of holding. I was getting a bit frustrated, but when I got through, obviously power came off and I got him out of there, so a lot of things to work on, but I'm pleased to get a guy out of there who a lot of their fighters haven't, so delighted with how it went.
We know you travelled a long way, Jersey's a far way to come. We know how dedicated your fans have been. You should have heard the noise that they made for you as soon as you came down the ramp, of course, and introduced yourself to us all. But how happy are you with obviously pleasing them and getting the KO win as well?
You know what, the people that came over from Glasgow and Jersey, I'm delighted I could put on a performance for them. It's great that they travelled so far to see me to London, so I can repay them with a good performance, then I'm happy.
Nick, I'm going to look forward because I'm thinking about the February bill. I'm thinking about you going home in terms of the Glasgow. We know Josh Taylor will be topping that bill, but how good would it be to perform in front of those fans, your fans, next year, early?
Glasgow born and bred, do you know what I mean? That's where I'm from, that's my homeland, so to do that would be incredible. And if I get the opportunity, I'll take it with both hands. And to fight on the undercard of the pound-for-pound Scottish King would be unbelievable.
Nick, congratulations again, man. A great performance.
Thank you.
So far, so good then for Nick Campbell. He moves on to 4-0 to extend his unbeaten record. Johnny Nelson has joined in the fun alongside us. Johnny, it's fair to say Nick Campbell is still very raw. It's still early days. What was your interpretation? How impressed were you?
He's a novice, and you show that in there. It's a case of, at this stage, what's he want out of it? There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do. So there's no point in getting crazy and thinking this guy's going to be a world champion, British champion. He's just plodding along. He's very humble, and he wants to try and get as much experience in as possible just to see where he can go, how far he will go.
He is 31 years old. He didn't start boxing until he was 27. He's a former professional rugby player, which I guess was standing in good stead in terms of transferring over. Is it time he gets a wriggle on? Has he got time on his side, Tasha?
I think, with the way sports science is developing, I think age has moved off. The time when you retire, especially in boxing, has moved along. But like Johnny said, he's only just learning, and he come out, he did what he needed to do. He'll learn something in every fight, and he'll know where he wants to lead. You can't put the big world championship aspirations on him just yet, but he'll know where he want to go, and he can reach that.
Right, coming up next, our main event from this side of the pond, a chance for Richard Riakporhe to take a step closer.